All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to our last session for the evening. This is an expert talk, the tech innovations. From data to dimensions, we now look at tech stack of the future. And of course, for that, we already have on stage, sir? Mr. Harish Nayak, founder and CEO, Connect Network. And we'd also like to call on stage Mr. Shubhranshu Singh, Global Board Member, FE Lines Foundation.
Hello.
All right, gentlemen, so the fireside chat, the fiery fireside chat, let that be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think given the last session, this is going to be a real practical thing. We want to keep it very, very quick, short and quick, 20 minutes. So I was just listening to all my industry colleagues, and I think obviously debates are good. And you know, Subhranshu, ki in our industry size pe bhi debate hota hai. There are three different bodies. Someone claiming it's a 3,000 crore industry, someone claiming it's a 5,000, and someone is saying 7,000. So debates are most welcome. But I think taking back from the last session, and I want to tell the last panelist that yes, hoardings are going to be put up by the mounter, and hoardings are going to be put up on the ground itself. Those basic things are not going to change, and we are not there to change those things. But I think as data and as AI, are we able to today integrate first-party data where the clients need ROI and proper planning? Because most of the agencies today have their offices in maybe Mumbai, and someone sitting in Mumbai will plan for Aurangabad or for Pune. What is the kind of ground knowledge that person will have? The real knowledge, because the city is changing probably every month, and that's where I think the role of AI comes in the out-of-home space. And I think AI no longer is optional, and out-of-home is, yes, certain amount of intelligence also now people are using or going into bringing AI into it. And I think out-of-home is not far away, and the most physical medium has to become the most intelligent medium, which is what I think. And my first question with that particular background to you is, from a client's lens, is AI in out-of-home today a true capability or just a conversation or just a topic to discuss?
So, look, my view is that I agree with some of the views that were expressed in the last panel. But I think if you trivialize AI, saying, हमारी industry में AI की अभी कोई relevance नहीं है, then you are deluding yourself, because the concentration of spends is so overwhelmingly now in the digital arena, globally I am speaking about, that in the out-of-home industry, it is becoming a mandate to say, if you have a large impact campaign, you should allocate something for out-of-home. But I think the power of AI lies in active analysis, triangulation, pattern recognition, etc., etc. For that, the precursor is data, and I think in the previous two panels that I heard, this point was being made that if there is no data sufficiency enough, you will not be able to build AI capability on top of it. So I think from a locational intelligence standpoint, from a mobility data stream standpoint, and then attribution, I think from a client perspective, this is at least a century-old problem. As William Hasketh Lever said, 50% of my advertising works, I don't know which 50%. This is true of all other media as well, but in particular outdoor, because it is seen as buying inventory without intelligence, any kind of AI layer which convinces people that attribution is robust is important. It should be looked at seriously. As you know, I came this morning after 22 days in Europe, and I was with a cohort of 30 global CMOs. They are not only discussing globally the impact of AI on media mix of all kinds. AI is now being looked at as an enabler for the nature of business, as in what is a corporation supposed to do. The conventional definition of a corporation was based on capital employed. But today they are looking at it as two sets. One set is the definition of a corporation as a collection of contracts. Now, the reason you needed a corporation to do things and not vendors or partners to do things is because every contract leads to friction. मैंने आपको कोई mandate दी out of home के लिए. I have to monitor it. I have to make sure you're being transparent with me. There is a process of transaction involved and so on. So because of that, traditionally corporations involved themselves in a lot of activities which were not necessary. The other definition of the corporation is a bundle of skills, procurement skills, marketing skills, brand management skills, engineering skills, innovation skills. Now with the emergence of widespread AI, the thing is it is much easier to do the former than the latter. It is much easier minus the skills to have friction-free contracts which can be mediated via AI. So I don't think out of home will be left untouched. But from a client perspective, since you asked me that question, the most important thing will be, is it working? If so, what is the evidence and the physicality of it? जिसने hoarding देखी उसने उसके बाद क्या किया? If it can be pre-planned, evidenced and post-purchase we know, for sure we are in a much better place.
I think one point you touched upon was attribution. And when it comes to attribution, it is all about what is the data behind attribution and what are the numbers saying. And when we talk of attribution, I think the last panel also spoke, why are you talking of data and is the kind of data available? And just to tell you, being in the domain for last 25 years and being with that kind of experience, I think sometimes there is so much available, but sometimes we ignore to see it. I can give you a couple of examples. Mangesh spoke about SDK, mobility data which is available, or today inventory is mapped, their lat longs are mapped, heat maps with lifestyle using Google Places APIs can be delivered. So there is huge amount of data which is currently available. Yeah. Still you think that out of home still is lagging in data credibility, because most of the data we are now banking upon is a second party data. And sometimes we are also able to map the first party data, because a lot of times client are giving their distribution data or their search data. And the client today are telling us that my search is happening in this pin code. Can you map audiences there and put up outdoor there so that conversions improve? So do you think that still out of home is lagging in data?
No, I don't think it is a... Short answer is yes. But the bigger problem is media investments per se are going through a squeeze. Last year in 2025 fiscal year was the first year in which global advertising revenues hit $1 trillion. Of that $1 trillion, between Google, Meta, Amazon and TikTok, it accounted for almost 700 billion. So all legacy media has to make life possible within the balance 30%. That is one problem. Secondly, across the world, there is a depression in terms of active growth. Now, we may think fantastic things about stock market valuations, etc., but they're happening in a group of very, very capital-friendly or capital-frugal tech firms. For the rest, return is becoming more and more difficult to achieve. So therefore, marketing generally is becoming a kind of a indulgence, a sideshow. And the CFO versus CMO equation is extremely lopsided in favor of the CFO. So basically for every incremental dollar, see, if you look at the brand as a compounding financial asset, then the discounted cash flow theory of value creation doesn't hold, because you see what happens is, and brand marketers are responsible for this, less to do with the agency partners and the vendors. Brand marketers have talked nice brand gook. It doesn't make sense to them. He is thinking of less friction per incremental sale, greater profit per incremental sale, greater catchment of potential customers. Marketer is talking about awareness, consideration, brand attribution. The other problem is the pilot and brand uplift. In my entire career, I have never seen a pilot fail, and I have never seen a brand uplift study that is mediocre. Everything is excellent, but when you deploy it on scale, it doesn't bear. So this is a problem. Now, therefore, since marketing investments per se, and the other problem with marketing investment is there is no foundation in the ground. Meaning, if I do capital expenditure for making a steel plant or a cement plant, I have physical site, I have physical assets. So if I decide this business is not very yielding in terms of economic profit, I can shut it down, but the asset will still be there. But in media, if I decide not to do a campaign, that A&P, advertising and promotion line, sits right above the profitability line. So it straight away collapses there. Therefore, it is a very juicy target. So people say, nahi karna yaar. Now the problem is, in good times, they don't value marketing enough. And in bad times, they couldn't care less because abhi jaan bachaye ya marketing kare. So this is becoming the problem. Therefore, coming back to attribution for OH, the simple thing to say is, look, for every incremental rupee that you put into this media bucket, I will be able to give you evidence that it has given you tangible results. What are those tangible results? Like in the automotive, where I spent the last 10 years, are greater number of footfalls happening? Is discounting reduced? Is between the stimulus that is available on out of home and the corroboration in terms of actual measures? Suppose I am giving battery as a service. Are people actually opting in for that? Has that been able to create conviction? That kind of textured attribution is still quite poor.
Correct. So, very quickly, I mean, 2-3 rapid fire questions to you. Given this discussion and the past discussion, do you still think that AI is overhyped in out of home, or it's just a discussion?
No, I think
or
it is
under leverage maybe.
It is not overhyped. It is not overhyped because whether or not it is adding economic value, it will come to become the way to do things. See, sitting in India, we have a very different view of the world. India's median age is 28 years. Europe's median age is 45 years. Their population is shrinking, their population is aging. Therefore, technology investments are becoming the substitute.
Yeah.
And, in 2023-24, the estimate was about $50 billion in new capital towards data centers. This year, Haresh, the projection is $500 billion. And that is just data center capacity. It is not about learning, and it is not certainly about absorption costs within organizations. So one of the commonly held misperceptions is people are being fired because their jobs are being done by AI. No. People are being fired because they need to release cost to be able to make that investment. And so I think jobs will come back in a value-added way. But AI, if the Western world has decided to put between $1 to $3 trillion in a period of 5 years, you think that kind of money will be left on the table, bubble or no bubble?
Yeah.
There is 100% going to be a mandate across global corporations to drive this much deeper in actionable ways, and that they will extract a return from it. So we have to prepare for it.
No, obviously. I mean, see, I believe that some people are ahead and some people are behind. And the example which you gave that, people abroad maybe exposure to the technology might be faster enough than the Indians. Given, people might lose job. Do you think that in 5 years' time, our out-of-home planners are going to do the plan, or the algorithms which are going to make the plan?
So that I'm not concerned in terms of eventual net job losses in media deployment of all kinds. I'll tell you why. See, when I began as a management trainee in Hindustan Lever in '99, this Excel had not become widely prevalent. And in fact, I'm from the generation where acetate sheets used to be put for presentation.
Yeah.
But the arrival of PowerPoint or Excel has not done away with the need to present or the need to do financial computation,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Just like earlier, if you had a toothache, they would do it without Novocaine or anesthesia. Just because anesthesia has come, people have not started neglecting dental health. In fact, there is more proactive treatment because dard nahi hoga.
Correct.
So I think the net addition of AI capability will lead to plumbing the routine job. If your job is basically a routine job, like this unique institution in Bombay, which I was surprised to see in '99 for the first time, the lift man. The lift has buttons, you know which floor you're going to, but there is a person sitting there who presses the button to take you to that floor, right? I have great respect for liftmen. I think it's a very onerous job, but that nature of job, if your job is just to do something which is intuitively self-suggesting, then you're in trouble. So the lower order job, and this is, by the way, even more manifest in software companies per se. Today, Goldman Sachs has announced that global capital is demanding a 30% discount on the bond issuance from Salesforce on a 30 billion. So they're AAA rated, but their spread is now at BBB negative levels. Why? Because वो समझ रहे हैं that if Claude comes up with a CRM capability, the money that you are doing for active investments or acquisition is going to go down the drain. And nothing against Salesforce. I'm just saying, generally speaking, quality assurance, database management, patchwork, that sort of a job profile, which was thousands and thousands of people in India, has gone away. And so you're seeing up to 100,000 job losses in the current fiscal, meaning in the last 12 months. And so how can media be any different? But when you do a deployment, as a client, I would pick up the phone and say, are you convinced? Is this a good idea? Is the brand elaboration safe? I respect your judgment and your experience. That I don't think will be substituted by AI.
No, I totally agree with you, because I'll give you my own example. Because if there is intelligence, you only elevate people in life. We are a small startup, but at least what I have seen in my organization is that the planners today are not worried about, is the geography in, let's say, Pune changing or Nasik changing, because my planner is sitting in Mumbai. Ultimately, that planner is doing a plan for Nasik. Now, we know how every 3 months, 6 months, the roads, for us, everything is all about the road and the traffic. Okay, things keep on changing. But today, AI is able to tell my planner sitting here in Mumbai that this is where now the new residential areas are. There are clients who say that we are a water purifier brand and I want to be in the upcoming newer townships in Pune. Sitting here, a person might not know which are the new townships, but the AI is helping them in terms of planning that these are the new townships and this is where. And the clients are also getting the benefit. So the job losses are not happening, but you are actually making your agency and the industry as such. I've been in the industry for 25 years. We were always looked down. I was in Lintas earlier. हम लोग को हमेशा लास्ट सीट पे बिठा देते. पहले वो क्रिएटिव आता था, फिर टेलीविजन, फिर ये अच्छा बच गया 5 मिनट, तो अभी पीछे लास्ट में आके प्रेजेंट करो. आई थिंक टाइम्स हैव चेंज एंड आई थिंक इट्स टाइम फॉर द ग्रेटर इंडस्ट्री टू ऑल्सो एक्नॉलेज द बेनिफिट. आई डोंट थिंक job losses are going to happen. I think this is only going to make our industry intelligent. So I think that is one thing. But moving beyond that, I think one of the things which also in the last panel we spoke, the panel spoke, was the trust on digital. Can we bring such amount of trust? Digital is digital. Outdoor hai. Either hoarding lagana hai. Now, if that is the kind of view we are going to have, because truly, as a CEO at my last organization, I've been heading the mainline digital as well as the out of home. And I know, but from a client perspective, I want to understand, can out of home outperform digital in trust and brand recall?
Yes. Yes, I think it can, because fundamentally in the last 15 years, maybe last 10 years in particular, what has happened is the traditional currency for buying attention has shifted from, say, cubic centimeters or from 30-second ad spots to impressions. And therefore, traditionally, you were able to at least have referenceability to where my money went. Today in digital, it is becoming way more difficult. Now, I can draw a parallel. Actually, the traditional way in which last click attribution was done, the traditional way in which programmatic advertising was attempted, is to find you at an expensive place, and then after you harvest a cookie, you go chasing your tail and find him again at cheaper.com. Now, therefore, it is no different from outdoor, because essentially you're looking at traffic.
Yeah.
But the problem is traffic is not audience.
Yes.
Now, the difference between digital and out of home, to my mind, the single biggest differentiator is this is in the physical, tangible world.
Yes.
You know, I could not take a flight from Munich. I can source everything on ChatGPT about what's happening in the Iran war. But physically, my flight was delayed by a week, so I had to go back to London, spend a week there, and come here to this morning. Because we are living in a physical world. You cannot fly. There are missiles and drones flying. So in the physical world, if attribution can be done and intelligence can be sourced programmatically, then after that, the hoarding, DOOH, call it what you may, lives in the real world. And that is a vastly different scenario from digital, which is a little opaque to my mind right now. People don't know what they're paying for. They don't know what the results are. And many, many large entitlement vendors are getting in what I call letterbox money. The apportioning is done in such a manner that unko to dena hi dena hai, fir baki jo bache ho, you can innovate with it. So I think, I think out of home has a real opportunity to say we are real, we are present. And one other critical differentiator, when you look at a brand like this, you look down on it. When you look at a brand like this, you look
Yes.
up to it.
Totally
So
agree.
there is a big canvas opportunity.
Yes.
And that is a very precious thing, and for some reason out of home people don't, because their legacy is we are selling inventory and it's frictional. वो जुगाड़ होता है 10 phone call, 3 vendor, 4 location. Digital is much easier. It's frictionless. It goes away. Like when you pay with cash and when you pay with a credit card,
Yeah.
the experience is very different. Money is still going out of your pocket, but you don't feel the pain. So I think out of home is not making this big canvas, rich canvas thing
Yeah.
real enough.
No, and I think it is also about our inbuilt confidence also. Sometimes we are from such a background, नहीं नहीं ये करना ही नहीं है, ये हो ही नहीं सकता, ये इतना ही होगा, होर्डिंग ही लगाना है. So that also is an inhibitor which also sets you down that no, I don't want to look at a broader picture, but I want to look down and whatever. But I feel that at least, I've been saying this for last 20 years or more, that आप कम से कम there is a ad block, ad skip there. आप आँख बंद करके गाड़ी नहीं चला सकते हो. So आप जब चलोगे आपको आउटडोर दिखना ही दिखना है. And to my clients I always say that as a professional we work so hard कि यार आपको जियो टैग फोटोग्राफ चाहिए, आपको डे का फोटो चाहिए, नाइट का फोटो चाहिए. We are able to at least provide that. But is that possibility in television? Is that possibility in digital? No.
No. Also, the intelligence that you bring, I know you've been to Munich many times, but I was in a place called Kitzbühel in Austria, which is a skiing area in South Tyrol. And it snowed the first 2 days. Third day we had an excursion. When we were coming back, I swear to you, there were at least 30 of these digital screens that were going.
Yeah.
Because very, very rich people from South Germany, from Bavaria, come to Austria at that time for skiing. And then I asked them, because they stopped our van for some checks, the police. So I asked the guy who was sitting next to me, who was CMO of Bank of Africa. He goes there often. So I asked him, what is happening here? He says, because the snow is not going to fall for the rest of the afternoon, and then everybody will go up the ski slopes. So the outdoor people are coming. They will park their vans or whatever, that digital screens at the right locations for each one of the skiing slopes.
Correct.
So that kind of physical movement combined with weather intelligence, combined with mobility data is very, very real.
Yes, it is very, very real. Finally, I think now 3 questions. I have three quick fire. One capability out of home must build immediately in that space of AI. What do you feel?
Who am I to say? I'm not an expert in out of home, but it reminds me of, I think you should sell intelligence more than inventory. That's broadly, there's a famous couplet in Urdu, Sher by Faiz Jalandhari, which is that and I'm saying this with reference to digital, जो पहुंच गए हैं मंजिल पर, उनको तो नाज़े सफ़र नहीं, 2 कदम अभी जो चले नहीं, रफ्तार की बातें करते हैं. You know? It's a bit like that.
Yeah.
You first stop selling number of hoardings, number of locations.
Correct.
Sell data primacy. I disagree that data is overdone. I think it's underdone in the case
Underdone.
of.
Yes, totally agree. One outdated practice the industry must abandon quickly.
No, this whole business of, see, it's fragmented. Basically, the problem is, even in the last 3 panels, there were at least 8 or 9 people who are in the business, right?
Yeah.
If we were doing a digital conference, 3 or 4 at best would be more than enough to represent the world, forget India.
Yes.
So what happens is you need to have a meta organization of some sort so that it becomes much easier to have a single window transaction. Corporate managers, corporate brand managers don't want unnecessary hassle in their life.
Yes.
उनके टेन्योर में कुछ नहीं हुआ तो बहुत कुछ हो गया, you know. कुछ गड़बड़, ये किसके साथ किया, कौन सा वेंडर है, कहीं होर्डिंग गिर गई, आदमी दब के मर गया, बवाल हो रहा है. तो क्यों यार, गूगल में क्या खराबी है, करने तो जाने दो पैसा. So basically you need to have much more coherent view of how the brand converges into real consumer actionables. I think it's too broken, the industry right now.
Yeah. One skill marketers need to develop in the next 3 years.
Marketers?
Yes.
Well, I think they should. Marketers, I call them, they are expert obituary writers. Print is dead, cinema is dead, TV is dead. And they overall celebrate birth of new things too fast and too soon. You know, when I was in my MBA institution, Dr. Prakash Tandon was the chairperson emeritus. He was the first Indian chairman of Hindustan Lever. So since I had already got a pre-placement offer with Hindustan Lever, he took a liking to me and he gave me a manuscript to read of the book that he wanted to write. And I went through the manuscript. Each and every example was from the 60s. This is in the year 99. So very respectfully, I told him, sir, आपकी किताब में सारी चीज़ 40 से 50 साल पुरानी है. Why don't you quote some more recent example? Because he had been chairman of Punjab National Bank and several other boards. He said, no, less than 50 years is too soon. So he wanted at least 50 years of consistent data before he could quote that as an example worthy. यहाँ तो परसों की चीज़ को आज जो है हंगामा मचा देते हैं, and then परसों उसके बाद वो पूछे तुमने बोला, नहीं मैंने नहीं बोला था, हरेश ने बोला था. So it's too much of passing the parcel. I think we need more concrete data, we need more evidence, and we don't need to discard one to adopt the other.
Yeah. I think finally, in the AI era, out of home, I don't think will lose to digital. I think it will lose to intelligence. The real question is, are we building intelligent media or just digitizing billboard? Because people are confused with digital billboards. So the final question to you is, are we really transforming the medium or are we just upgrading the hardware which is there? The final one.
I don't know the ready answer to that, but that's a very intelligent observation. Let me put it another way. I've been in B2B businesses, I've been in B2B2C with Visa, with Tata Motors, and I have been in B2C early part of my life all throughout. Broadly now in the world, there are 2 types of consumer advertiser dynamics. One is where advertisers are desperately trying to reach consumers to provoke some reaction, impulse, whatever. Then there is the other one where consumers are desperately looking for the right solution, so they are searching for information. And I think because of legacy, out of home is too much into the first bucket.
Correct.
Which is why this minimalism, I respect minimalism. Somebody was saying, थोड़ी सी जगह खाली, I think Fabian was saying, थोड़ी सी जगह खाली, ये भी घुसा दो, वो भी घुसा दो, it looks like a red herring prospectus. I respect that. But long form also has its great virtue. In fact, throughout London Tube, you will see Jack Daniels. See that on, he loved his number 7. Long copy, but it's very engaging. And I saw one which was turned upside down, simply because it said break the rules. So the whole copy was turned upside down. Yeah. So I think that, there is role for both kinds. But the world is definitely shifting from, I don't really need you to tell me which potato chips to buy. I mean, at the end of the day, or which vodka to buy or which butter to buy. And it becomes habit. When I'm getting into higher involvement purchases, I'm looking all around. So I'm seeking information. Yeah. She has been hovering for a long time. Finally, she has come on the stage. So I am also more than relieved. I have not slept for 16 hours. So thank you very much.
Done.
But
Yes,
out
sir,
of
we
home,
heard.
I'm a big believer in out of home. Haresh knows that. He was our partner in my previous role. So I wish the industry well. I think it is a very important place. And I think from a brand point of view, it has survived the most. Look at magazines, right? Just if I can take half a second more. Magazines was the immersive media when I started in Hindustan Lever and I was marketing manager Lakme as far back as 4, 5, 6. They used to say, oh, magazine, we have to be in the first 20 pages. It is advertising worthy audience, great editorial, immersion. जब कोई magazine पढ़ता है तो कुछ और देखता ही नहीं है. Subscribe करते हैं. मैं कहाँ है magazine? Where are the magazines now? So it can go like this. I think out of home has proven its staying power. Just needs to do the right things with data.
Correct. So with that, I think thank you, Subhranshu. It was great insight and always great to talk to you and get a different perspective about the business. And I think the future of out of home will definitely not be defined by size, scale, or screen. I think the session clearly tells us that it will be defined by intelligence, which is clean, sharp, and memorable. So thank you, Subhranshu.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. And Singh sir, the only reason why I come up is because you've traveled from London today morning itself, and here you are. How amazing are you? सर जाने से पहले एक सर वो शायरी दोबारा से हो जाए सर ब्यूटीफुल मैं तो लिखूंगी मेरा व्हाट्सएप स्टेटस हो गया ये नया सर एक
Since you asked,
yes
I was seeing a lot of sadness in the panel discussion. Some of हमारे ऐसे. So if it was so bad, we wouldn't be discussing it. So I recently read another one which said, I don't remember the exact, I may be off by 1 or 2 words, but the share basically said, हम तो समझे थे हमें जानता कोई नहीं, पर हमारी बर्बादी घर घर की कहानी बन गई. So why, if we are so insignificant, why is everybody discussing it? So marketing matters.
शायद मैंने आपका इंट्रोडक्शन गलत दे दिया. Presenting to you कवि शुभ्रांशु सिंह जी. Fantastic. And Nayak sir, what a pleasure. How amazing was that fireside? Truly, it meant every word that it said. Fiery fireside chat. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. With this, we come to the end of OH Summit. Of course, the awards are remaining. Summits remain and... हाँ अरे बहुत बाकी है Requesting Mr. Amit Joshi from Coral Media to kindly come on up and present our brilliant speakers with a token of our heartfelt appreciation. Singh sir, so you haven't slept at all? Oh, I'm happy to hear that at least. Thank you, and of course to Ms. Nayak, thank you so much. A group photo awaits.